Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling y'all, man, don't challenge me on the dance tip, dog. Ever. You get embarrassed. Yeah, man, I'm gonna wear the jersey again. I just got a different hat on, homie. All the way, yeah, all day, every day. Like T.I., you know what I'm saying? Anyways, so as you guys do know, we got the Sinquefield Cup. Round 2, jumping off. So I do have Maxime Vachier-Lagrave and Wesley. So, you know, of course, as always, man, I appreciate everybody that's stopping by. But my people in the Philippines, I will say mabuhay to you. Hello, ulit. Mabuting pagbati, ingat lagi to you. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. Masaya Kong Kitty Kang Muli. I appreciate you guys very much, as always, man. Anybody who is coming from France or who does parler français, I would say bonjour, bon petit déjeuner. C'est me fait plaisir de te voir, mes amis. Merci beaucoup. Ma meilleure pour tous. I appreciate you guys very much, man. For real. But, man, if you guys are ready to go, man, let's take a look and see what we got for this game, bro. So, we got the move E4. We got E5, knight to F3, knight to C6, bishop to B5, and a knight to F6. So, we do have the Ruy Lopez Berlin defense, also known as the Berlin Wall. But, you know, it's just super solid. So, let's see what we got. We got cracking. We got castles by white, which might look kind of strange. You might be thinking, wait a minute, bro. Why am I castling and my pawn is just all by itself lonely? Well, you are not giving away a pawn. So do not be worried about that. Knight takes E4, and then we either would normally see the move Queen to E2, Rook to E1, or the move D4, which is what we see in the game. And it can get very tactical if you do not love your king. And then you can just die a horrible death really quickly. So we do see the move knight to D6, bishop takes C6, pawn takes C6, and this is the variation that gets us directly into the endgame. Pawn takes E5, which of course knocks the knight somewhere. And we normally are going to see knight to F5. Queen takes D8 king, with check. King takes D8, only move. And then we do see the move knight to C3. And I mean, it might look kind of strange because you're like, man, like, why would I go into a variation where I don't get the castle, bro? Like, my king is stuck in the center. Doesn't this suck? Well, the thing about it is you are in an endgame, right? So with the queens off the board, it is not as dangerous as if the queens are on the board and your king is stuck all in the center. So yes, you're good to go. You do see the move king over to E8. We do see the move H3. And H3 is met by F5, H5. You know, we have like a double purpose with this move. It's to move the rook down, maybe do like a rook lift, and also just to kind of make the situation a little bit less desirable if you want to push D4. Because, you know, you do have these pawns in front of your king, so you don't want to just blow your king side all the way open, right? So you can't just play G4 with nothing, you know, no type of nothing. So the bishop does come to F4. We see bishop to E7. Rook A comes to D1. We see knight to H4 because it's like, hey, man, I want to trade knights. And I want to damage your structure and stuff. And white says, nah, man, I'm good, bro. Like, just, you know, get rid of your knight. Like, move back where you came from. And so the knight says, okay, I'm going to do that. And he says, I insist. Let's trade. And white is like, bro, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'll trade you, but I'm going to do it on my own terms. So we do see knight C going to E2. And we're like, bro, if you want to trade, we can trade. Do whatever you want to do. We do see the move G5. So this is pretty aggressive. As you guys are probably aware, this king is probably never going to be over here because you have literally pushed all the pawns in front of the king. And you are kind of kamikaze trying to deliver some checkmates, ripping the position open. So we do see the move bishop coming back to H2. We got the move rook to H6. Like I said, you know, the rook is going to H6. And we are doing a rook lift. So, you know, white is like, what you trying to do, bro? Like, what's cracking? So the rook F comes to E1. We see the rook to G6. And like I said, man, black is like saying, bro, I just want to just pretty much wipe all your pawns off the board, you know, deliver some bishops, get this rook over here, and, I mean, that's going to be the end of the game for you. But, you know, white doesn't want that. Maxime is like, bro, that's not how I'm trying to get down, dog. So we do see knight taking F5, bishop taking F5, and then this is actually a really nice move. It makes a lot of sense. You probably can see it knight to D4. And not only are we attacking this bishop, but we have just defended that C2 pawn. So it's a twofer, as I say. We do see the bishop coming back to D7, and then bam, we got the move E6. Now, this isn't like, you know, you're just crushing the other player, but it looks kind of nice, right? You're like, you know, E6. Like, I'm ripping some stuff open, bro. But we do see bishop taking E6, rook, knight taking E6, rook taking E6, rook taking E6, and then pawn taking E6. And then we do see bishop taking C7. So everything is like fairly equal. You know, we have 3 pawns on the king side. We got 3 pawns on the queen side for both players. We snacked on a little pawn over here. So, you know, we kind of have a little something going on for each side. But each side is perfectly good. And then we do see the move bishop to f6, which is the novelty of the game. And I think that's crazy, you know, insane because, I mean, bishop to f6 is the best possible move in this position for black. So it's like, you know, it's kind of there, man. And I mean, you don't really want to take here because the rook is going to swing over and you're going to actually activate the rook. So you do kind of have to be a little bit careful with bishop to f6, your intentions, right? So the king does come to f1. We see the move a5. We got a4, just trying to stop all of what black is doing. Because, I mean, expanding on the queen side is definitely one of the ideas in this position. We do see the move b5 and then b3. And something that might not really just jump out to you that I want you to kind of notice is what kind of color bishop does each player have? Correct. It's a dark square bishop. So if you notice, almost all of the pawns for both players are on light squares. So basically all white has to do is put in the f3. And then g4 needs to be played for black. You kind of have to do something with this pawn. But when you put, you know, pawns on the opposite color of your opponent's bishop and also the opposite color of your own bishop, you create a situation where your opponent cannot attack your pawns. And also, your pawns aren't in your way when you're trying to, you know, do everything with your bishop. So both sides have, for the most part, maximized their movability for their bishops. So that is definitely what you want. It's not crazy advanced of a concept, but like I said, it's one of those things where you want to try to make sure that your piece is maximized while trying to shut down your opponent's piece. And then, I mean, you might be in a situation where you could win. So we do see the move rook to a7. We got bishop to b6. Rook does slide over to b7. We see bishop taking a5, which might look like I'm just giving away a pawn, right? Well, no. After the pawn's take, you will be having a nice attack as black. Pawn takes a4, pawn takes a4, and then we do see the move of rook down to b2. And in the game, we actually see the move c3, but that is not absolutely the best move in the position. There is a really nice variation that I wanted to show you guys. I mean, white has, you know, a pretty nice position here. So you really kind of have 2 main moves. One is rook to d6 and one is king to e2. So just taking a look at the king to e2, you know, variation. If king came to e2, you probably would see rook take c2 at check, and then the rook would be blocking on d2. And the most important thing about the situation is you are set up to swing this rook over and support this pawn push. So if you did see rook going over to c4, you would immediately see rook to a2. The rook would probably check on e4. The king would step up to d3. After you received another check on d4, the king would probably go to e3, and then the rook would come up to d5, attacking this bishop, but the bishop would just step up to bishop to b6. And I mean, you know, you kind of have a little bit of chances here as white. I mean, this was one of the variations, like I said. And I mean, it's kind of hard. You kind of have your own pawn, but this pawn is just a little bit faster. So, I mean, you kind of have a little something going on if you're white in this position. So this was definitely a position we could have gotten into. But like I said, after the rook came to b2, we did see the move c3. And for the moment, the pawn is protected. We do see the move rook to a2. Now, you basically had 2 options if you were black. You're like, okay, either I'm going to come down and I'm going to attack this way, or you could have stepped a rook to a7 at some point and kind of attack that way. So either way, I mean, you kind of have your pawn and your bishop lined up on the same, file. So you do see the move rook to d6. And white is saying, I'm not just going to sit around and let you attack me, bro. I'm going to go ahead and place my own little attack. And so we see a counterattack move here, which is always nice. I mean, you do want to think about your pieces if they're attacked or in danger. But at the same time, you do kind of want to be thinking about, you know, is there any other move I can make? Like, can I threaten a checkmate? Can I do something other than just simply defend a piece? So the rook does take a4. We see bishop down to b4. And then a really kind of cute move, and that is c5. You know, the bishop is attacking that c3 pawn, so we kind of deflect the bishop real quick. We got bishop take c5 and then bishop taking c3. And then, of course, we do see rook taking e6. And the thing I want to tell you guys about is, you know, you do have a position where white does have an extra pawn. But the major thing about the situation is that all of these pawns are on the same side of the board. So this makes drawing chances go way up because you don't have any passed pawns nowhere. Of course, if this pawn was like way over here or something like that, maybe you might have some good chances of promoting it, right? But, I mean, these kings pretty much can kind of hang out on this side of the board. And, I mean, you know, everything is fairly even because of that, even though you do have an extra pawn. The king goes to f7. We see rook up to e7 with check. The king goes to f6. The rook sides steps over to c7, and then we do see the move bishop to d4. And we have reached a position where if you want to go ahead and pause the video, and this is kind of like a sneaky move that MVL does play in this position. If you want to go ahead and pause the video and try to guess that, go ahead and do so now. Okay, it's not the absolute best move in the position. The best move in the position is just bishop to e7 with check. And I mean, you're trying to kind of deflect this king somewhere so that you can just pick up this pawn. Of course, I mean, black is going to probably go here, so you're not just going to win the pawn. But I mean, it's kind of a very forcing, you know, maneuver that you can do. So that's absolutely the best move. But a cute idea, and something that, like, if black is not calculating correctly, they can really get in trouble on, is actually the move rook to a7. And this move might look kind of strange because it might kind of seem like it gives up a piece. Like, let's just do probably one of the short calculations, right? Rook takes a7, bishop takes a7. I mean, bishop takes a7, right? Like what's going on? Aren't I just losing a piece, right? With this, like, why would I do this? But there's a very important Zwischenzug move in the position. After you do capture on a7, black captures on a7, you do need to make sure that you interject bishop takes d4 with check first, and then you have just forked this king and this rook. So that is a very important point to make sure that you hit when you do that. And then after the king goes literally anywhere, you have just won yourself a piece. So that is one of the important things about when you play a chess game, making sure you do things in the correct order. Because if you accidentally do something wrong, you know, like you're playing this game, you accidentally touch the rook, then you're kind of screwed. You know, you kind of have to take the rook and you're going to lose a piece. So you got to be careful. So this is the correct way to actually go about doing it. So it does not lose a piece. Like I said, rook to a7 might look kind of strange, but of course, Wesley So is noticing, all right, man, I don't even want to go into none of that because I'm going to lose a piece. So he goes ahead and sidesteps over to rook to c4. So he avoids that. So even though everything is even and everything is everything, I mean, you do kind of have some stuff that you have to watch out for. So the rook does go to a6 with a check. The king goes up to f7. We see bishop taking d4, rook taking d4, and then we do see rook to a7 with check. The king goes down to g6, rook to a6 with check. The king goes up to g7, rook to a7 with check, king back down to g6, rook to a6 with check. And then we do repeat positions, and we get here, and we have just drawn the game by threefold repetition. So even though it did end up being a draw, as you can see, I mean, there were kind of some things that you had to make sure that you were looking out for and making sure that, you know, you weren't falling for any of these little tactics, because no matter what chess game you play, there's going to be some tactics in the position, and it could kind of get a little bit dicey. So for anybody who is coming from anywhere, maraming salamat, merci beaucoup, and I will see you guys next time.